Hi. The title of this podcast is Make Your Relationship with Life Simple. I know, right? It sounds like, oh, easy to say, but hard to do. Well, it's only hard in the beginning, but with practice, everything becomes easy. As I like to say, in the beginning, it's effortful, but with a lot of practice, it becomes effortless. And I've made that my business. And when I am making my relationship with life simple, what I find myself doing is cultivating more inner peace, leading with an open heart, and I enjoy many more experiences that I otherwise would not have because I would have made life complex and difficult. But there are situations that might be challenging. Many of them are because that's how life often shows up, but my relationship with it doesn't have to also be challenging. That can be simple and is really, really with just accepting things. I've used this example many times. During the pandemic, people have been, masking, considering that or not masking. And a lot of people have made that whole thing very, very complex. Or you can make it simple. And when you're in a place that requires masking, you put on a mask. You make it no big deal. When you're in a place that doesn't, you don't wear a mask. It's that simple. Or you can be like I used to be, which was a walking grievance looking for a cause and hostile to anything that resembled change or making me do something that I thought that I shouldn't. You can go about it that way and you just invite a lot of suffering. And I'll give you an example of how that suffering shows up. So let's say you're a person who doesn't want a mask, right? Then you are in places that require it. So you're complaining about it. And then when you get to places that don't require it, for example, your home, you're still complaining about the place that you're no longer in that required it. That's suffering. Like, why would you bring that home? And let's say that you are a person who embraces masking, that you think everyone should mask. Then what happens when you see people that aren't following those rules? Then you make that a problem too, which is outside of your control. So those are examples of making life, your relationship with life, complex when it doesn't have to be. It could be very, very simple. And since I've made life simple, I'm able to easily appreciate people and see the goodness in them and in life much more easier, much more easily. And it's just very, very simple. Otherwise, I would miss it because I would be confusing their behavior with who they are. I wouldn't be able to connect with their humanity. And that's one way to do it. Or you can do it a lot easier and just enjoy life a lot more. Now, when I say make your relationship with life simple, some people may think this means, disconnecting from the grid, foregoing all of technology, living in a cabin in the woods, picking berries or hunting for your food. Yeah, you could do that, but there's a simpler way to do it. And it doesn't mean, rescinding all those things. No, you can still enjoy like the comforts of life. You can still, dabble with technology or whatever the case may be. But what it does mean when you make it simple is that when you are in the normal flow of life in America and not living in the woods or in a cabin or something like that, when you're doing that, it can still be simple, meaning that you are rooted in this moment, that you take nothing personal. There are no external enemies, and life becomes so much more simple and richer. You're peaceful, you're able to lead with an open heart. You work on nothing closing you, but you're always keeping that heart open. The point here is not about what life is doing or what people are doing. The point is that who you are being as life or people are doing whatever they're doing, because they're always doing something. But how are you being in your interaction with life and people? And since I've made that my focus of working on me in such a way that whatever life or people are doing is almost irrelevant, guess what happened? It's simple. Everything is simple. Go to a restaurant, they forgot your reservation. They see other people in front of you. You don't even make a big deal of it. Now, that doesn't mean not take any action. You go and you say, hey, listen, we checked in at this time. Notice you set someone before us. I just want to check when you'll see us. That's it. Make no big deal about it. Don't go back to the party who you're dining with and say, I can't believe they're letting all these people. That's making life complex. Doesn't have to be that way. Get to work and there is a staffing shortage. You just accept that there's a staffing shortage. You being upset and talking about the workplace and all this other stuff doesn't mean that there are going to be an army of people coming in who are qualified and skilled to do the job to fill the staffing shortage. No, you're just making the whole situation more complex when it doesn't have to be. So what I found is that when I was living as Keith 1.0, I had a habit of making everything harder than what it was or that it needed to be. And when I gave that up, things changed. I remember my mom, who's amazing, and she would notice me like, that's one way to do it, Keith. You make it a lot harder, but that's your choice. And you, if you have children, you may be noticing, your children or your loved ones doing the same thing. It could be something very simple, like let's say lifestyle choices of, not working on being disciplined to get up and go exercise. Okay, then what does that mean for you down the road when it comes to mobility and functionality or having a really healthy physical body? There's an easier way to do it. And you can start to make those lifestyle choices, how you roll through life now, or you can choose not to, or anything that you can think of. There is one way to do it. And I don't care what the challenge is. You can keep it simple. Going through a relationship change, divorce. It can be this real big contentious affair of not being valued, of not wanting to be taken advantage of. It could be that. Or it could be something like, okay, we're going to get a mediator to help us navigate this while at the same time keeping an open heart to each other and making sure that our contribution to this process. And that as we go into different directions, we do so peacefully and lovingly. I mean, that's what it means to literally make your relationship with life simple. It is so easy. I am privileged to work at Mayo Clinic, and every day something happens that I could easily make complex. But because I make it simple, every day is a joy. Now, it's already a great place to be at, like always. And you work with amazing people. But when you are in the business of complaining and being at the mercy of your preferences and the way that you think things should be, you can make a mess of even the best situations. And I see people do that like all the time. You don't have to. Just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Whatever this moment, this situation is, because there's always something going on, make a choice. Keep it simple. So while you might not be literally living out in a cabin in the woods, do so internally. Oh man, the view from where I'm sitting in this cabin is priceless, breathtaking. I invite you to come and join me. Keep it simple.